Few men in history command an image of power and invincibility quite like Napoleon Bonaparte. As a master strategist on the battlefield and an empire ruler, he was accustomed to bending the world to his will. But one summer day, during what should have been a leisurely hunting excursion, the emperor found himself facing an unexpected and utterly ridiculous adversary: an army of hungry rabbits. What was meant to be a carefully orchestrated display of sport and skill turned into an absurd outing for the emperor. Welcome back to History in Their Words. This is the bizarre but true tale of Napoleon's most unlikely defeat. This account comes from Baron Thibault's memoirs.
I had not got into my carriage again, before the Emperor had leapt on horseback and gone off at full speed, all those who had to accompany him racing after. I could not understand the similarity of taste between Napoleon, the busiest monarch in the world, and his predecessors, the Bourbons, the heedless of existing princes, and the most imperturbable sportsman. Anyhow, all through that summer, he shot and hunted, and everyone racked his brain to vary his amusements in that line. Like a good courtier, Alexander Berthier was not behindhand. He had the idea of giving the emperor some rabbit shooting in a park, which he possessed just out of Paris, and had the joy of having his offer accepted. The property possessed everything calculated to make the sport agreeable, except rabbits. But rabbits are common enough, and the marshal, being as adjutant general, accustomed to think and everything and provide, considered that he was as right as he could be when he had ordered 1,000 of those animals to be turned down in the park on the morning of the day. An order of that kind is not executed by halves, and not a rabbit of the 1,000 was wanting. At length, all was ready. The emperor had been expected, the emperor had arrived, a splendid breakfast had been served, the accessories made way for the principal business. The sport began, and Berthier was in high delight at having been granted the honor of giving his master some healthy pastime, with the opportunity of distinguishing himself. But how can I tell it, or be believed? All those rabbits, which should have been tried in vain, even by scattering themselves, to escape the shot, with the most august hand destined for them, suddenly collected first in knots, then in a body. Instead of having recourse to a useless flight, they all faced about, and in an instant, the whole phalanx flung itself upon Napoleon. The surprise was unbounded, as was Berthier's wrath. At once, he assembled a force of coachmen with long whips, and, proud of having found a decisive opportunity of protesting against a cruel world which has escaped the first consul of the field of Marengo, Berthier is not the stuff of which they say brave men are made. He darted forward at their head. The rabbits put to flight. Napoleon was delivered, and they were looking on the incident as a delay. Comical, no doubt, but well over. When, by a wheel of 3 bodies to right and left, the intrepid rabbits turned the emperor's flank, attacked him frantically on the rear, refused to keep their hold, peeled themselves up between his legs till they made him stagger, and forced the conqueror of conquerors, fairly exhausted, to retreat and leave them in possession of the field. Only thankful that some of them had not succeeded in scaling the rumble of the emperor's carriage and getting themselves borne in triumph to Paris. It only remains to explain the phenomenon, and all was revealed as soon as it known that Berthier's emissary, not aware that there could be any difference between one rabbit and another, had bought rabbits from the hutch instead of from the warren. The consequence was that the poor rabbits had taken the sportsmen, including the emperor, for the purveyor of their daily cabbage, and had flung themselves on them with all the more eagerness that they had not been fed that day. The laughter which this revelation elicited may be guessed. Also the way in which it had added to Berthier's despairs, in his shame and confusion, regretting the ridicule even more than the fact. He vowed, a little late in the day, that he would not be taken in again.
This strange story of Napoleon is entertaining and, if nothing else, serves as a reminder that even the greatest figures in history are not immune to moments of pure, unscripted comedy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.